What you see right now is not an asteroid. It is a megalodon that is 20 meters tall and weighs 50 tons, thought to have been erased from the stage of history 3 million years ago. But there is a problem. It falls on us at a speed of 30,000 kilometers per hour, not in the ocean, but in the upper layer of the atmosphere. If this organic giant hits the ocean, will we just experience a biological explosion? Or will it be an apocalypse trigger? Today, we are pushing the boundaries of physics and biology. Get ready, because the greatest hunter in history is about to turn into the biggest bomb in history. To understand this destruction, we first need to know what we are facing. Otodus megalodon, a monster that is about 20 meters long and weighs 50 tons, exactly 3 times the size of the largest living great white. Only, the height of its tail was longer than the height of an adult person. He was not just an inhabitant of the oceans, he was the absolute owner. As a biological machine, Megalodon was one of the most terrible hydraulic presses produced by nature. The saltwater crocodile, which has the strongest bite of today, applied a pressure of 3,700 psi, while the estimated bite power of the Megalodon was over 40,000 psi. This means a force that can crush a medium-sized car like a metal paper in a single move. He was hunted not only by brute force, but also with strategy. Fossils prove that the whales hunted by Megalodon first targeted their fins and tails, making them unable to escape. He was tearing apart the greatest creatures of the ocean with the meticulousness of a surgeon and the power of a tank. So, how did such a perfect hunter disappear? With climate change and the cooling of the waters, the whales he hunted migrated to the poles. But Megalodon's huge and warm-blooded body could not withstand this cold. It was buried in silence 3 million years ago, until today, when it reappears as a fireball in the sky. It all started with an ordinary space scan. Space observation stations. It constantly follows small celestial bodies approaching the Earth. But that day, on the radar screen, an unusual signal appeared. Diameter about 20 meters. The length is 50 meters. This size, it belonged to a single creature. And this is alive. He lived once in history. Megalodon. A question immediately appeared in the minds of scientists. A sea creature. How can he get into space? At this point, it appears a crazy but theoretically possible scenario was thrown. An asteroid. When it hits the ocean, explosion power. It can throw millions of tons of water and creatures into the atmosphere. And rarely, some pieces, it can reach space. When the radar data is examined, an even stranger detail emerged. Surface of the object. It wasn't smooth. Indentations, protrusions, and there were bone-like structures. It didn't look like a piece of rock anymore. This thing, it looked like an organic structure. But the real shocking data was this. The object was not fixed around its own axis. It was returning irregularly. This movement, it didn't match the behavior of an asteroid. This movement, it was like a muscle spasm of a creature. As a result of the studies, everyone was sure now. It was a megalodon that left us millions of years ago. However, there was a problem. This creature was quickly coming to the world. Why was a 50-ton organic tissue falling on us? The Pentagon and international space agencies have gone into an emergency. Could anti-aircraft missiles stop Megalodon? No. Shooting a creature coming at 25 Mach speed is more difficult than trying to hit a bullet with another bullet. Also, breaking up the Megalodon in the air doesn't solve the problem. It just causes thousands of biological bombs falling on the Earth. Therefore, no intervention can be made in this decline. The moment Megalodon crosses the Kármán line at an altitude of 100 kilometers, he is no longer a living thing. It is a 50,000 kilogram bullet. When it reaches a speed of 28,000 kilometers per hour, fine air molecules around it hit the animal's body, enveloping it with a plasma shield. This is where an interesting rule of physics comes into play. The water in the skin of the Megalodon suddenly evaporates, while its internal organs are still frozen, like a stone with a cold of minus 270 degrees of space. This extreme temperature difference creates huge cracks in the animal's body. Its speed is so high that the atmosphere behaves like a wall, not a gas for the Megalodon. At an altitude of 50 kilometers, its huge jaw and body cannot withstand aerodynamic pressure and begin to disintegrate. Each broken piece creates secondary meteors that create a small nuclear explosion effect in the sky. Last 10 kilometers to the big drop. Megalodon has now crossed the sound barrier many times. The sonic explosions it creates cause huge Fluctuations on the ocean surface below it. The temperature reached 2000 degrees. The carbonized outer shell of the animal became as hard as a diamond. Now the most critical question is, what will happen when this huge mass hits water? Most of you may think the water is soft, but you're wrong. A passenger plane usually hits the ground at a speed of 900 kilometers per hour. Megalodon, on the other hand, comes 30 times faster than that. At this speed, water molecules do not have time to move. The moment of collision will release an energy as if Megalodon has hit a 12-kilometer thick concrete block, not the ocean. Get ready, because the ocean will soon declare this coup to the whole world. One last millisecond. The Megalodon is approaching. Water at a speed of 20,000 kilometers per hour. According to the rules of physics, the ocean is no longer liquid, but acts like the hardest concrete in the world. The moment the Megalodon touches the water, every atom in its body is forced to stop, while the mass behind it still continues to push at the same speed. The energy released at the time of collision is equivalent to a small nuclear bomb when calculated in TNT. A huge cavitation balloon is formed on the ocean surface. Water moves away from the point of collision so quickly that the sand on the ocean floor comes to light in seconds. Thousands of tons of water evaporate, and a column of water is launched into the sky for miles. If there was a ship nearby at the time, even a sound wave alone would have been enough to break the crew's organs. It's not just a local shock. The kinetic energy transferred by the Megalodon spreads throughout the ocean as super tsunami waves. When these waves reach the shore, they do not break like ordinary storm waves. They go for miles into the land as a huge water wall. Cities, ports, and ecosystems are destroyed by the last memory of a prehistoric monster falling from space. Minutes after the explosion, it gives way to a deadly silence. There is nothing left of the Megalodon. Neither a bone, nor a tooth, nor a tissue. Everything was fragmented at the molecular level and increased the temperature of the ocean by a few degrees. Humanity will take decades to clean up the destruction created by this unexpected guest from the sky. But the world won't be the same anymore. Humanity saw that the tsunamis created by the huge falling mass wipe out the coastal cities off the map. However, the real destruction came to a standstill with the collapse of the internet and the global banking system, with the breakage of sub-ocean fiber optic cables. Maybe a new ecosystem and living things would be formed with the remains of molecules falling from space to the ocean. Who knows? Maybe a new type of Megalodon or smart life forms will be formed. The world is a planet full of surprises. Living creatures will be able to see it millions of years later.